Welcome back to the Create Harmony podcast, and we are at the beginning of a new year, and this is episode 55. My name is Sally Burlington. I am so glad that you are here and that you joined us here today. What we are going to begin here in our new year at Create Harmony is called our Winter Wellbeing Series, because it's winter, and we are going to do winter well-being. During Winter Wellbeing, we're going to focus on a range of topics on how to optimize our well-being, and particularly on how that relates to life in the winter. So if you've been listening for a while, you might already know that winter is not my favorite season. So I really like longer days. I like warm afternoons. I like picnics and cookouts and time by the pool and going to the lake. I like to be outside. I love it when the days are long and you can go out after dinner and do things, be in the yard with your dog. It's not my favorite time of year when you have very short, very dark, very cold days. There's so much darkness everywhere. As soon as you are getting to 5 o'clock in the afternoon, it's dark and it's very cold. That's not my favorite time of year. And it seems like everywhere you go, someone's coughing and sneezing, and it's only a matter of time before you will be that someone who is coughing and sneezing. So over the past few years, I've really become more aware of my need to really steward my own well-being during the winter, and tried to align myself with the parts of winter that can be restorative. There are some people who love winter, who love to cozy down and bundle up, and they love that. They know how to do winter well. The people in Denmark are great at winter. They've found the parts of winter that can be very restorative and good, and they know how to highlight those. So we're going to turn our faces towards those concepts and celebrate them during winter well-being. So winter happens for a reason. There's a real sacred wisdom to the quieting and retracting of things in preparation for the new growth that happens in spring. And much of the subtle changes that happen below the surface in winter, all those things happen in the dark. And that's the part that needs to be acknowledged, that all of that stuff is still happening in the dark. Change is still happening. Good things and growth are still happening in the dark. So I'm really trying to celebrate the parts. This is a podcast about celebrating everyday joys and seeing the good things in life and having gratitude for all the blessings that surround us all the time. So winter well-being is going to be all about that, opening ourselves to places where winter works well and focusing on habits that can raise our overall well-being while we are in the dark. So one distinction that needs to be made, however, is there's a difference here at Create Harmony between wellness and well-being. We'll certainly incorporate some aspects of wellness into our discussion, because if we're sick, it's harder to experience well-being. But this is a broader discussion. It's more about well-being in a general sense. Bigger things, bigger topic. And it's about the things that make you feel good overall. And the hope is that you'll find new ways to nourish yourself here, or maybe you'll just remember some old ways that you've nourished yourself in the past and revisit them again. You should find resources to refresh your life and look at your choices in new ways. And there'll be a really strong current of self-care running throughout all these conversations. We're all about self-care here. So we're going to be talking a lot about ways to self-restore and regenerate ourselves and just feel good. And at the end of each episode, we are going to discuss a hygge habit. So you're probably familiar with the concept of hygge. If you tuned into our winter well-being last winter, you heard about this. It comes from the Norwegian culture, and it relates to focusing on coziness and comfort. This is where people really know how to do winter well. And so they focus on things like cozy socks and candles and sitting down and settling by the fire. That's what's the ideal way to live in the hygge lifestyle. So for today, I'm going to share one of my very favorite hygge habits, the thing that I like to do during the winter that is very hygge and that gives me a good feeling. So that thing is putting on my pajamas when it gets dark. And as you know, I've already mentioned that in the winter, it gets dark at about 5 o'clock. So that's really, really early. to put your pajamas on. And I'm not able to do this every day. I do not put my pajamas on every day at 5 o'clock. But on the days that I can do it, I find it so comforting and cozy. It says to me that I'm home and I'm safe and I can settle in for the night. It tells my brain to relax. I really love pajamas and cozy loungewear. And getting to enjoy these creature comforts for longer parts of my day in the winter gives me a lot of joy. It gives me a bright spot. So as we draw this episode to a close, I encourage you to think about what things bring you joy in the winter. What are those little things that you like, but maybe you haven't taken the time to make your winter a little brighter? Maybe you haven't even thought of doing that. If you feel stuck and you can't come up with any ideas, then you can stay tuned. And over the next few weeks, maybe you'll think of some things that will brighten up your winter months. Also, you might want to subscribe to our monthly newsletter and to our Instagram. You can subscribe to our monthly newsletter at mycreateharmony.com. It's free. There's no charge for it. And you can go to our Instagram and follow along. We'll be coming up with many more ideas there to celebrate winter well-being. And one last thing as we close today, if you're enjoying this podcast, if it's something that you like to listen to and it brings you some brighter, joyful feelings, please feel free to leave us a review so that we can get even more people to listen in. Pass it along to your friends, anyone that you can think of that would be interested in raising their well-being this winter. Bring them into the conversation. We'd love to have more listeners and more people to celebrate winter well-being. We appreciate each of you for taking the time to tune in to our winter well-being discussion. And until next time, peace.